to the RunRX podcast, where we talk about all things running. As many runners know, it's 90% mental. So join Coach Valerie and Coach Caroline as we go through the mental side of running. Okay, welcome back. As we promised you last week, we're going to talk about perception. And the reason why this is really important is because I was watching our group, and it was amazing to me, Valerie. You were doing a simple ankle opener. Okay, so there's going to have two parts to it. The first part was you were saying put your feet together, like right over, feet right underneath your hips, right? And everybody put their feet shoulder width apart. Right. they were all like a good 6 inches apart. And you're like, no, feet together, feet together, feet. I think you said it like 4 times. And then finally, the 10 people on the call all put their feet sort of together. And then you said, take your heel and place it out, right? You were doing a simple ankle opener. And I was amazed at how, I'm not going to say, it's not uncoordinated. They just weren't perceiving where their heel was in relationship to their toe. And then you'd ask them to stop and you would talk to them. And then I'd see 3 people on the call keep doing it. So I kind of want to bring this up because you can't listen and do something. Your brain can't do more than one thing at a time. I'm a huge advocate of multitasking. So this goes against everything I do, but you physically cannot think. You can chew gum and walk at the same time, but just barely. Okay. So you can't listen to what you're saying and do the movement. You know what I mean? Because your perception is lost. And it was so painfully clear to me that I wanted to scream at them, stop, listen to what she's saying. Now watch what she does. Now look at your feet and now do it. Right.
Right.
So
what's interesting, you're right. And here's a really interesting thing. When you work with little kids and you say to a little kid, like, touch your toes, they all just touch their toes. They don't ask you or say to you first, oh, I have this tight hamstring, And so when we're adults, the older we get, we have all of these blocks kind of with our movement. Yeah. And so when you're teaching someone, you're exactly right. First, you take the, whatever, 20, 30 seconds to think about the movement. We all have to, at this point, kind of have intent with our movement, right? And then, it's just like you're saying, and then you can watch the movement and then having someone watch you. What's great, though, is in these 1-hour Zooms, by the way, where I never get to touch these people, but I get to interact. By the end, there is so much like, once they do that, once I finally can say, guys, just stop moving, just, just listen, then you're going to move. And it's so fun when you allow yourself to do that. And we're all, it's because we all want it. We're runners. We want to just be moving the whole time.
Right. That's the thing, that percent. And that's what we were talking about is it was amazing to me. We had people that we were just doing simple triple pulls that you've done probably 500 times on our channels, right? And they were doing the ankle openers back and the triple pull ankle, and you're like, slow down. You guys, they were going like, I can't even tell you. It hurt me to watch them move.
Well,
so
and
fast.
I'll say this because perception is never talked about in running either, right? Most people, everyone in running, not everyone, but the culture is very much about the heart rate, these external factors, so people they run by something else telling them not how to run, but where to be, like in zone ones or heart rate.
Right.
And what we're doing is we're teaching you to be connected with your running and what happens. So I tell them all the time, by the way, the drills guys are just for developing your perception, your awareness, your ability, your physical ability, but your mental awareness, which is huge because once it's yours and you feel it, it's forever and ever. So I try to break those barriers. And by the way, we all feel awkward and uncomfortable. However, we're all out there just throwing our bodies in space without knowing what we're doing. So when you start to bring it all together, the perception, just so people out there understand, is that it's to help you sense when you're running that you're doing it correctly. And then you can make minor adjustments as needed. However, I promise that it's not like you have to think every step once you learn how to do this. But once you know, right?
Go ahead. I was going to say it's like playing piano or doing martial arts or swimming or anything else. Think of something you've done in your life when you first started doing it. It was difficult, right? Doing scales, right? And it was not until you practiced over and over and over again that I remember I played piano for 8 years. Now, if I go try to play a scale right now, it won't work. But there was a time at the height of when I was practicing every day and taking lessons every week that I could sit down and play a song that I had been playing for a long time and not even realize that I was 3 pages ahead in the song, right? I just, my fingers knew where to go, right? So I want people to realize that this is not just about running. It's about how you do your work. It's about how you drive how do you drive, right? When you first started to drive, you put your hands at 10 and 2, you checked everything. Now you're basically texting and looking out the rearview mirror and it becomes easy, but it doesn't become easy until after you are aware of where you are in the space, right? What you're doing and how you feel while you're doing it.
Thank you for joining us on the RunRX podcast. If you'd like to know more, join us at www.runrx.fit. And if you have additional questions that you'd like answered on the podcast, email us at support@runrx.fit.